Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic. And that you're all having an absolutely wonderful day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. I don't have to say it. I just woke up, so you know the deal. Anyway, any further ado, moving along. Lot of slightly normal news. I was a little confused because the last couple of weeks have been a little bit out there. No one said anything crazy. There was no one who went on a rant. There was no real controversial issue. So I was a little perplexed as to how things were so normal. We're seeing the increased advent of mega optimism within the space. You can tell sometimes that I'm sure you can feel it. When prices go down or stagnant, and I use heavy air quotes there because we can rise by like 180% in price over the course of a 1 year period. Prices go sideways for 6 weeks and everyone completely loses it. But we are nearing those time frames once again. If you were here in February or March, where a lot of people, after the introduction of the Bitcoin ETFs, begun to predict where they foresaw Bitcoin and also subsequently Ethereum's price were going to go. We are nearing those time frames quite quickly. As I mentioned before, it's basically the end of June, early July, and also summertime. Those are the 3 to 6 month time frames after the halving as to where prices are going to go. Tom Lee is back in the news. He says that Bitcoin is on track to reach $150,000 in 2024. The original timeline money time was originally 50,000 for this year. Then that became 150,000. A lot of people are assuming the assumptions are still there, as I wrote on Twitter. A lot of people believe that we are going to be 105,000, 110,000 sometime over the course of June. A lot of the factors that they give have to do with U.S. economic data, world economic data, but the conversation typically revolves around the two letters. It has to do with the idea of inflation not going down and therefore interest rates will have to drop. It has to do with CPI data. And there was another, what was the other thing? Oh gosh, I can't remember. It was some other 3-letter thing that basically indicated that the US was going to start turning on the money printer again to be able to help to pay off their debt, which I believe, I think the interest rate alone was, I think, $700 billion. No, was that it? Yeah. I think the interest rate alone was, I think it was 700 billion, unless I'm missing a couple of zeros. The point being is the idea of the money printer being turned back on, interest rates needing to lower because the economy's not doing well, the constant firings and layoffs and all these other problems that we're having. It's the spiral that we can't get out of. The Fed and other people around the world continue to try and make it seem as if this is some sort of mud we can crawl out of, but we've actually entered the point of no return, as it were, when it comes to inflation and how bad the economy is going to be. Fundstrat Global Advisors managing partner and head of research Lee revealed his latest bullish Bitcoin price prediction in an interview with CNBC earlier this month. Bitcoin has no shortage of optimistic price targets this week, but some observers are focusing on the long term. I think that's very easy to say as well. A lot of it is also another long-term story in this thing as well. A lot of people, I think a lot of times it seems safer for people to throw out a long-term number when the vast majority of the market don't really, not that they don't care, but a lot of people are focusing actually on the short term. It's very difficult to see all of this movement, to see all of this action, and to have prices over the last few weeks before simply not moving or whatever, what have you. If you haven't been watching the other videos or haven't really seen the activity behind the scenes and the levels of accumulation have been quite staggering. We've had news about needing to be over $100,000 since 2021. Because the activity on this network and in this market, and also just the new people that we've seen getting into it, it's one of these ideas. If we hit the previous all-time high of 70,000 in 2021, just based off of the accumulation levels and all the other things that we've had, and we've surpassed those numbers by 5x since then clearly we should be well above 150,000. But whales are doing what they need to accumulate prices, when at a lower level. But the calls still remain for $150,000 Bitcoin. It's just kind of this, I don't even know how to really put it into words. I think a lot of people aren't actually ready for those numbers. I mean, rich and non-rich, just because of what it actually signifies for the rest of the world. I'm not going to get into that conversation right now because it is quite heavy and I just woke up and my brain can't process a lot of that, but that's, you understand. We've gone over that before. Among those who share these thoughts is Tom Lee, who stated that Fundstrat sees a six-figure Bitcoin price as the base case for this year. Some people have gone a little bit extra. And I mean one or two people have noted a $600,000, $700,000 Bitcoin sometime next year. And that then leads us into the Jack Dorsey's and the, what's his woman's name? Kathy Wood. How do I keep forgetting? It's really weird. Who are talking about the $900,000, $1 million Bitcoin in like 4 years or something like that. He said, and I quote, "We think Bitcoin is still at the beginning of a bullish cycle. So the idea that it could reach $150,000 this year is still within our base case." The time frame for those of you who, between the $100,000 to $150,000 pendulum is between October to December. For some reason, we've gotten a lot of autumn good thumbs up kind of thing, and December moving into January as like the let's see where the next leg of the race is going to take us. Of course, this has to do with it's impossible to just say over the course of like a 30-second period. The news that we've been getting every single day has been quite good, quite staggering, quite amazing, quite awesome. It hasn't really, the worst days that we had were when we were trending sideways or Bitcoin fell by like 4.5%, and everyone got a little pessimistic on the market. But everything is still there. The accumulation levels are still quite high. The amount of Bitcoin being taken off of exchanges is still quite high. The amount of accumulation, the amount of Bitcoin going into cold storage, the amount of over-the-counter buying, the amount of accumulation from the ETFs, you name it, it's all still there. It's all very strong. It's just dependent on how optimistic other people are in the market. But I can feel the rumblings of like happiness again, similar to what we had when Bitcoin was going up by like $3,000 every single day. It's like kind of reappearing in the market. Also, I guess standing side by side, optimism for the Ethereum ETFs continues to rise. The idea of where Ethereum is going to go, there's a lot of discussion of by July, August. And I think that time frame is meant to be similar to the movements that Bitcoin had over the course of a 2 to 3 month period after its ETFs went live. The idea is now that Ethereum is probably, and if it doesn't, then we have a problem in the matrix. The idea is basically that Ethereum is going to surpass between $10,000 to $12,000 sometime around summer. This year, Ethereum has less liquidity than Bitcoin does, so it is a lot easier for its price to move up. If we start getting any kind of indications of how much money is flowing into Ethereum ETFs every single day, we are more than likely going to see those numbers. There's still a level of like bootleg optimism floating around, or no, excuse me, bootleg pessimism. That's what it is. It's mainly coming from Bitcoin maximalists. I don't know if you've seen the last 2 or 3 weeks, there were a lot of people who made sure to talk negatively about Ethereum before the ETFs got approved. And then even afterwards, I saw some people saying, well, they're not going to have as much money as Bitcoin flowing in. They're not going to have this. There's not going to be any interest in this. Like, you should be happy with the fact that you are a Bitcoin maximalist, and one can only assume that you have a large amount of Bitcoin and can probably buy an island and or a small town. But you still continue to make sure to spread negativity in the news for a coin that you don't own and a coin that you subsequently also don't care about. So it's like, cool, stand to the side. No one actually really cares what you have to say. But yes, there's optimism from people who are owning altcoins. The generalized idea is, listen, I mean, realistically, if we can talk here, if Ethereum by the end of summer is at $10,000 to $12,000 per coin, altcoins have pumped and have completely lost their mind. People continue to look at certain indicators for price as to if the other altcoins are also going to break past resistance. And this is where the $4,000, $5,000 Ether is coming into play, because we are still below the previous all-time high at those numbers. The previous all-time high for, my friend was just mentioning it, the previous all-time high for Ethereum, I believe, was $4,800. We have not passed by those numbers. Similar to how we passed by the previous all-time high for Bitcoin before we even got to the halving. People are anticipating a $5,000 Ether, and then also a major break forward. The craziest number I saw for this year was a $20,000 Ether, but I hold back a bit saying those words because that also then throws us into a $30,000, $40,000 Ether sometime next year, and there's a gigantic question mark over that because we do not know how much interest there's going to be for the Ethereum ETFs. No one can really say. We know that the money is going to be there. BlackRock and Fidelity, you don't apply for such a thing unless you know that there's hyper interest. You don't want the pie on your face by, having one of your grand ETFs completely go flat. But the assumption is if we get that kind of momentum, we get that kind of movement, especially it's always the year after the halving where prices could go. Of course, people would be, you can't lie and say that if Ethereum goes to 30, 40,000 next year because of the ETFs and just relative accumulation and because of the bull market, the bull run, altcoins, we'd probably be talking about a $12 to $16 Cardano, XRP, like you name it. Like even those other coins would probably hit 1 cent and $1. Yeah, I'm glad that there's more optimism than pessimism, but the pessimism is always going to be there. There's always going to be people who try their best to be as negative as possible. They have nothing better to do with their time, so I kind of just let them float in their negativity. And also, the amount of Bitcoin on crypto exchanges continues to decrease. Willy Woo said, while everyone was freaking out that Bitcoin's price was not rising the last 2 months, available Bitcoin was quietly being scooped up, and importantly, without paper Bitcoin printed in its place. So I looked a little lower, and he's talking about paper Bitcoin as like derivative Bitcoin. So that is to say, basically futures. Last time I'll say it, it's only a matter of time before Bitcoin squeezes past all-time highs. I really just, and I mean from a perspective of money, but also just like, please just do it. I'm waiting for Bitcoin just to really go past $100,000 so we can stop having this conversation, because us not being above 100,000 signifies that we are not at 150,000. I know that's logical. That's how numbers work. But it's kind of this like, if you don't pass the previous all-time high, people are confused as to if we can get to 100K, which we can and we're going to. But the problem is that people lack optimism when we are below 100K because they don't understand that it's actually possible at its current price. And when we get to 100K, then of course 150,000 seems completely possible to the, that it's this kind of thing over and over. I don't know how the whales are doing it. Like I wish I could mathematically tell you, because that would be, a 4-hour video. just to figure out how we can have this level of accumulation. Not only the accumulation, but the over-the-counter accumulation, the amount of open interest for the ETFs, the amount of just normalized buying. I saw a bunch of friends, this was maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was really shocked because everyone there was talking about buying Bitcoin. And this is like a group of people who, like, I didn't know them that well, but hello, if you're listening, by the way, hello. But I was really shocked that everyone, like, was in the market. And the amount of buying, like the hyper levels of accumulation, it's very interesting to see that even over the course of a 2-month period, people were able to keep prices that low. There's always, of course, a lot to go into. But yes, the optimism is still there. The amount of Bitcoin on exchanges continues to drop. All that Bitcoin is not liquid, as I've mentioned many times before. A lot of people on exchanges have no intention of selling. People do hold their Bitcoin on crypto exchanges simply because they want to hold it there as an extra place of safekeeping. Oh, I should also mention, by the way, I'm having a couple of friends texting me a lot of questions still about crypto exchanges. I am not a crypto exchange, and I say that to you as well. If you ever have any questions, ask your crypto exchange. And I mean that from the stance of, I think a lot of times people are very nervous about contacting their crypto exchanges, maybe similar to contacting a bank. I don't know where the timidity comes from. If you have a question, if you literally are like, hey, in the event of a scam, a crash, a collapse, is my money safe? Like, ask them these questions. You're using them as a service and you're paying them subsequently a fee every time you do something on their platform. You're paying them, ask them a question. Don't be afraid. I do it all the time. Sometimes I sit here and I'm like, I have a question about something. Send them a message. It may take them a while to respond back as they have, millions and millions of people using them. No, ask them a question. Figure out what's going to happen to your money, what's going on with your money. If you have a question about staking, I ask all these questions. Anyway. Yeah, that's the Bitcoin price predictions. I think a lot of people would be very excited if we hit a $10,000 to $12,000 Ether by the end of summer, because it would basically mean altcoin season is back with a vengeance. And yeah, the amount of Bitcoin being taken off of exchanges is still quite a lottie. That's the, I guess, light market update news. I don't really know where to put that. And yeah, let's move on. This was interesting and also quite surprising news. I wasn't expecting it, and I have a lot of questions. Someone by the name of Lucy, who's apparently the marketing specialist for the Shiba Inu ecosystem, has revealed that the team's focus is on long-term goals for SHIB instead of pursuing short-term gains of 30 to 50%. Let me try to explain. So Shiba Inu, for those of you who don't know, is the meme coin in the market. A lot of people continue to try and focus on Dogecoin, which never gets any news. The last Dogecoin news that we had was that the original dog that's based off of the dog breed is called Shiba Inu. The original dog, I believe, passed. This was a couple of weeks ago. And oh gosh, what was it? I think Elon Musk tweeted a photo of it being like, RIP bro, or literally something along those lines. And then Dogecoin's price went up. That's the only Dogecoin news that we've had. And before that, it was, I believe, that Elon Musk was at an event wearing a Dogecoin shirt. It sounds like I'm making up jokes, but no, these are things that have actually happened. Shiba Inu, on the other hand, is in the news maybe 3 or 4 times a week. They are a meme coin that popped up 2-3 years ago, but they tried to separate themselves from that idea by stating that they are a meme coin who has actual interests in building up their ecosystem. So while I think a lot of people know the image of Dogecoin, if you are actually, and I say it this way, if you're actually into crypto, you know that Shiba Inu is the meme coin that most people follow. what have you. So they've mentioned before that they're building and have been building out their ecosystem. They have layer 2s. I think they're working on layer 3s. I think they have 1 or 2 side chains. I believe they have multiple DeFi projects on top of them. This isn't me boasting about them. It's just more of I know people probably like, why is Shiba Inu always in the news? It's because they stated years ago, like, we're not going to rug pull. We're going to be here. We're going to make sure that we actually like build up this ecosystem. So I was a little shocked because most coin projects don't talk about the idea of long term. It's simply like a day by day basis. So I mean, this is across multiple coins as well. You'll hear that this is coming out, this is happening, that update, that so and so, but it's typically rare, especially for a marketing specialist. Sure, why not? To even talk about the idea of like long term gains for the coin. Because most people, when she talks about the idea of the 30 to 50%, a lot of people, from what I've gathered over the years of looking at Shiba Inu news, are quite intent on like the whole burn news. Shiba Inu and Terra Luna Classic are always in the news because they're burning billions of coins at a time. They really want the coin's price to pump. And a large portion of the ecosystem is just the people in the ecosystem are hyper focused on the idea of Shiba Inu getting to 1 cent. Because there are so many coins, if it gets to 1 cent, there are a lot of people who would become like instant millionaires. And I mean like maybe multiple millionaires as well. So that's kind of one of the ideas. But I guess she's now stating that they're in it for the long haul. You could have never told me in 2019 that there was going to be a coin called Shiba Inu who's talking about being around in the year like 2035. But once again, weirder things have happened. The prominent Shiba Inu marketing specialist disclosed on a Twitter post over the weekend. Here's the tweet right here. It says, "Be careful under my post. I have zero tolerance for FUD or any insults towards our beloved ecosystem. You keep dreaming and chasing the tops of poop coins. We will keep building and collecting the fruits of our seeds that's not a sentence anyone says. The fruits of our seeds at the right time. We don't think about every 30 to 50% we have, and then it's like ... I'm not going to click on it because I assume it's kind of sure, what have you. So, you know those instances where we have like really popular news and you don't expect it to be popular news? This is it. Yeah, we found one. So cool. It's nice that they like themselves. I'm still here for the saga. I'm still here to see what's going to happen with this coin over the course of the next year and years, because I find it very interesting. Dogecoin is never in the news. I think it's very weird. Litecoin hasn't been in the news in the last like 2 or 3 weeks, but Shiba Inu and other Luna coin are quite prominent. I mean, it's always usually mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum because those are, the name of the game. But cool. That's the Shiba Inu news. I look forward in the year 2035 to see a 12 cent Shiba Inu. I don't know. Okay. Let's move on. Also in the news, it's called the Open Network. It used to be the Telegram Open Network, like the texting app. They've rebranded to the Open Network. So blockchain has achieved a major milestone by surpassing $300 million in total value locked for the first time. I'm going to keep calling it the Telegram coin. It's a lot easier. Saying the Open Network literally makes no sense. Like, open to what? Open to who? What's happening? It sounds weird. So the Telegram Open Network, or TON, has become really popular in the last couple of weeks. I remember we had like a smidge, a little smidge of like partnership news and integrations to other things, but I wasn't expecting them to have risen so fast. They were kind of hounded a number of years ago by the SEC and other regulators. They came out around the time that Facebook coin came out, which was also quickly squashed into the ground, but now they're back in popularity once again. The idea of total value locked, for those of you maybe like a bit of a question mark, a lot of blockchains, or the idea is that blockchains get their value or extra sprinkles of value from how much money is locked inside of it. Similar to the way that you may have a bank that, has $3 trillion worth of assets. That bank is worth a lot of money. The same thing for blockchains. When you talk about projects and who's building things on top of them, and it's basically how much trust people have in the network, how much money people are willing to stake on that platform, on that network, to basically leave their money there. Because normally within an ecosystem, people would kind of just use the coin to send value back and forth. Like if you're just using Ethereum, you're just sending the coin back and forth. But if people trust it enough, they build a coin on top of it. If people trust that coin enough, people start locking their Ethereum and other coins inside of it to be able to stake it, to get passive income. That's trust. You don't do that with something that you don't actually trust. So the Telegram Open Network now has $300 million locked inside of it for the first time. Apparently this has increased by tenfold since the beginning of March, and shows that Ton is rapidly growing and becoming a significant player in the this makes a little bit more sense. Significant player in the decentralized finance world. I will preface this by saying, please understand that not all DeFi is DeFi. That is decentralized. A lot of projects, and they've been happening since 2019, and I've been warning you since 2019 as well. A lot of projects say that they are decentralized, and I mean in the strongest sense of the term. There's no head of the dragon. There's nothing controlling there's no one, no thing. It is completely community run, and we've seen 95% of DeFi projects not be DeFi at all. There's been multiple cases where the SEC has literally sent a letter to an office, because it's people working in an office, 4 or 5 people who are controlling that blockchain, who told everyone else that they were decentralized and it did not exist. They went away. That money disappeared. So DeFi is becoming a very hot topic once again. DeFi is seen as sparkly and shiny. That's a good word for it. Because of the potential returns that can be made, where many of you may have a bank account that says, hey, you hold your money with us, we'll give you 1.5% over the course of a year. You look at Tether. Tether says, hold your coins with us, or simply hold Tether, and we'll give you 4 or 5% per year. DeFi projects will say, hey, we can give you 48% in 3 months. And the way that they make this money for a lot of them has been shape of a pyramid-like scheme-esque version. But, a lot of times I can say whatever I want on the channel and people just won't believe me until they actually end up losing money. There are a lot of people, and if you can, please get out of this mindset. There are a lot of people who are okay with being rugged. I keep finding that out, and I mean literally okay with it. So I'm seeing people on Twitter, on Reddit, online discussing that if they put their money into 10 different projects and 3 of them rug them, well, they only lost, 3 monies on one side, but the other 7 haven't rugged them, and is no, you shouldn't be looking to get scammed. So I needed to say that, because as the market improves, as you look at other crypto sources for news or information, or people who are looking at charts, they're going to start telling you to get into DeFi, how much money there are so many YouTubers. Please watch out, who are actively promoting. Now, I'll even say it this way. These are literally unregistered securities. I don't even believe in that term, but I can see what they're promoting, and I'm in 2026, there's going to be a problem with the coins they were talking about. The SEC is going to go after them as they've done before. So always use due diligence, please. I know someone, as I'm talking, they've walked away, they left the computer, maybe they went to the bathroom. Hope you have a good time. But it's please pay attention to a lot of the things that are going to pop up. There are far too many. There are far too many meme coins popping up right now. Far too many. I keep seeing articles every single day literally being this meme coin is going to go up by 14,000%. No one can tell you that. No one knows if a coin is going to go up and it's causing a lot of people to lose money. So not saying that the DeFi things on top of the Telegram network are bad in some sort of way, but you know, the track record for DeFi has not been good. This increase in total value locked was driven by various applications such as decentralized exchanges and liquid staking projects. Projects like Stonfi, Dedust, Ton Stakers, and BMO were among the main applicants contributing to the Ton ecosystem. One of the key factors is an ongoing initiative known as the Open League. This ecosystem initiative incentivized participation by rewarding users of Ton's best decentralized applications, increasing the overall value of the network. Yeah, so just keep this in mind as much as you can. I know money is very shiny and sparkly and everybody wants to make a lot of it. There will be many instances over the course of this bull market where you are going to hear people telling you things that you should be getting into or how attractive it is and how amazing it is. I try my best to steer you in the right direction and or simply give you the news of the day, but understand that there are certain blockchains, databases that are being hyped right now simply because there are scams on top of it. That is literally what's happening. There's one in particular that has hundreds of new meme coins and scams on top of it daily, and people are promoting this database as something that is going to be the next Ethereum. So yeah, Telegram Open Network is constantly back in the news. I assume the 300 million locked inside of it will go over $1 billion. There will also be another grandiose news story about it as well. Just always try to be safe in what you invest in. I cannot and will not ever tell you where to put your money, but please understand that not everything that looks real is actually real. And you can also tell when something is fake and looks like really cheesy and is trying to rip you off, and the people still throw their money in trying to let it ride, and it's like, okay. Yeah, that's the Telegram news. I think that is going to do it for this video. Yeah, I do hope you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.